Well, I think that's about right. I think we're ready to go. This is vk3sl. Welcome to the afternoon sessione. We're here again and sampling the collection and doing stuff, strutting our stuff here. Beautiful autumn day. Just come back from a walk and realised that a lot of things were not plugged in. So we sort of got there in the end. Greetings all, and we'll just meander along as per usual. It's nothing highfalutin. It is just a simple stroll in the studio, sifting through the collection and making sense of things. And originally what was a Corona stopgap has turned into some rather narcissistic, bizarre form of self-expression, sorry to say. But this is where I am, and we'll just see what happens. Right, as per usual, we will kick Carl off with something from the 20s, care of Mr. Atticus Jazz, who's been putting up more recordings of Don Redman and the band. That is the McKinney's Cotton Pickers, one of my fave bands from the 1920s. Just had a great vibe, fantastic sound, and energetic to the hilt, and experimental. Let's have a track called Save It, Pretty Mama. VK3SL testing.
Can be beat. My way of hugging, there's sure a treat. know that we can agree. Save it for your mama, save it all for me.
Was McKinney's Cotton Pickers from 1929. Save It Pretty Mama, they were the track, featuring Red Allen. Don Redman, what am I saying? I was reading about Red Allen a moment ago. Anyhow, we'll continue. I reckon we'll play another from the same stash. These are on old Bluebird 78s. They've been put up by Mr. Atticus, who always has something amazing to offer. In the absence of Prozoot, who's been quiet of late, we are sampling other collectors who are strutting their stuff. Here's a track called Words Can't Express the Way I Feel. Words can't express the way I feel. That's McKinney's Cotton Pickers from 1930, that recording on Bluebird label. That's a couple of the more laid-back recordings from the McKinneys. Aka Don Redman, who was the clarinetist and saxist and arranger of those tracks. Of course, they were capable of some extraordinary upbeat tunes as well. One of my faves is a song called It's Tight Like That, and I have no idea what they're speaking about.
Listen here, folks, I'm gonna sing a little song. Don't get mad, don't mean no wrong. You know it's tight like that. Oh, it's tight like that. Hear me talk to you. It means tight like that. See my gal, tell her to hurry home. I ain't had no sleep since she's been gone. You know it's tight like that. I mean it's tight like that. Hear me talk to you. I mean it's tight like that. Uncle Bill came home about 10:30. Couldn't find his key, so he couldn't get in. Oh, it's tight like that. I mean it's tight like that. Hear me talk to you. I mean it's tight like that.
McKinney's Cotton Pickers from about 1930, I think, maybe a bit earlier. It's tight like that. I have no idea what they're singing about, but I know on the screen, Mr. Atticus Jazz tantalises the viewer listener with pictures of scantily clad dominatrixes and all manner of people in positions of compromise. Yes, indeed. And we'll just have to quickly, I've got someone at the door here, so I'm going to just take a moment to find another track, and we'll see what we have on the list. Looking here, and yep, another of McKinney's Cotton Pickers. This is a track called Cherry from 1928. vk3sl testing. Track called Cherry, McKinney's Cotton Pickers from 1928. Don Redman at the helm. All right, I'm being stretched all directions here, so I'm probably going to have to put something on in a minute and be responsible. Not to worry, we'll feature one more track and see what the status quo is. We've got a few sick people in the household, so it's always a juggling act when things don't go to plan. Here we go, another Noble Sissel and his Sizzling Syncopators, and a track that I've always enjoyed. I remember hearing this for the first time when I was a young kid, and it sort of really was one of those life-changing moments, really, because suddenly syncopated music became an attractive proposition.
Devil on Monday. Oh, you can't get to heaven, you can't get to heaven that way. You got one gal Tuesday and another gal on Wednesday. Oh, you can't get to heaven, you can't get to heaven that way. If you like me like I like you, we gonna see the light. 'Cause I want your arms and I want your lips and I want them every night. Come on and cuddle, come on and shout hallelujah. Oh, you can't get to heaven, you can't get to heaven that way. You got shoes. Oh, got you. When they get to heaven, gonna put on the shoes. Oh, you can't get to heaven that way. Well, I got a roll, you got a roll. Oh, got roll. And when they get to heaven, gonna strut with a roll. But you can't get to heaven that way. Well, I got a song, you got a song. Oh, got a song. And when they get to heaven, gonna shout my song. You can't get to heaven that way. Well, I got wings, and you got wings. Oh, got wings. And when they get to heaven, gonna fly with the wings. Oh, you can't get to heaven that way. You said I can't get to heaven this way? No. Can't get to heaven this way? Go to Hades then, brother.
vk3sl and his sizzling syncopators from 1930. You can't get to heaven that way. And it's always been one of my fave tracks, and it just jumped out at me. Well, folks, I'll have to take leave for a little while, and I've dug up an episode of War Correspondent to just to keep the airwaves warm until we find out exactly what's going on and how I can divide my attentions and all of that. So we'll see. Here we go. This is a Australian Army publicity recording and another episode of War Correspondent, straight off the vinyl. vk3sl.
The Directorate of Public Relations of the Australian Army presents War Correspondent.
I'm Mike McCann. I suppose, like most Australians, you've heard it often claimed that Australian soldiers were amongst the great, if not the greatest, jungle fighters in World War II. But have you ever wondered why? Troops of many nations went into the jungle to fight, but they found only defeat there. What then was it that made the Australian such a natural fighter in the heavy growth, in the ravines and on the green-cloaked mountain slopes, in the swamps and the Kunai plains, and on the palm-bordered beaches? Was it his legacy from our wide country, the Bushman instinct? Was it his initiative or spirit of independence? Was it the love of his country that drove him to feats of heroism and great endurance, to outwit and to outfight a cunning, brave, and tenacious enemy? Oh, maybe you have the answer. For my part, I can only think back over those years and recall the worst days. The days when our future hung on the results of jungle warfare. And remember the men who fought and won those battles. Perhaps if we look back once more, we might find a clue to the mystery. Let's go back then. Back to the days when the battle to regain Papua, the battle for Australia, was being fought out at the turn of the year in 1942 along the swamplands and jungle at Gona, Buna, and Sanananda. Militiamen, many of them veterans of the Kokoda Trail, fought alongside men of the AIF, also veterans of other battlefields. Side by side they fought in the tradition that is now legendary.
There's no getting away from it. We're in a bad position.
Well, the men will stick it out, sir.
I know that, Sergeant. Thanks for the reassurance. Didn't want to sound abrupt. We've been through a lot. Going on a mission was a tough one.
We cut them about badly, sir.
They're managing to get reinforcements in. They're like centipedes, these Japanese, hard to kill. You can crush them, tread on them. They still keep wriggling with their killer fangs ready.
Our men have outfought them in the swamp and the jungle so far, and
I know, Sergeant. Heavens above, from what I've seen, I have the greatest faith in our chaps. And a militia battalion. I feel exactly the same as I did in the desert with my AIF mates.
These boys have proved themselves, sir.
I know. But here we are talking. What I wanted to say is we're going to have a pretty crook night. Swamp across there, sea across there. The Amboga River running a banker, and it's raining like hell.
Water's right up, sir.
Yes. And it's our wounded I'm thinking of. Only one thing to do, Sergeant. Build table-height platforms out of anything from scround, any sort of timber, and lie our wounded on them. At least that'll keep them from being washed away.
Yes, sir, it'll do that.
I know. Not much more. The whole area is like a sewer or a floating graveyard. How are the men?
Full of fight, sir.
Yes. And so those half-drowned rats, the Japanese. Here we go, Sergeant. Better slip up and see what's going on.
Any grenades left, Glenn?
No, Mick.
Sticky?
Yeah, we've got to get back.
Yeah, but
No buts, mate. We've been overrun. They've cut the platoon to pieces. It's a stinking dark night and there's stinking never-ending rain.
Okay, save the excuses. We gotta go, as the warder said to the bath plug.
You out of ammo?
You think I'd be making with the mouth if I wasn't? Red's more effective than words, in my opinion. You done too?
Yeah, not even a stone to throw at them. And listen to the little apes, screaming like Superman.
You'd reckon they'd know when they were licked, wouldn't you? But no, they keep coming back for more.
We better get back to the company, mate. Have the chop here. Ammo and Tucker, we can resume the march to Tokyo.
I hear your words like music. The dog! Pick up the pieces of that grenade, Len. I'll have it examined for fingerprints and go back and get that Jap tomorrow. I'll take that personally. The fella might have got hurt there, you know.
C Company really bought it, sir.
I know, Sergeant, I know. How the men who came back?
They're just about headed, I reckon, sir. But I don't know. While they got that sense of humour, no Jap alive will beat them.
That's true. Now, we've lost 10 killed, 37 wounded in this last operation. We've found out more about the Japs. They're freshly landed reinforcements. Probably come off the destroyers our bombers attacked the other night.
Fresh fighters.
Yes. So this is what we'll do. What's left of the 2nd 14th will join us. We'll push towards the sea, west of Hattie's village. We'll chop off this supply of Jap reinforcements from the coast.
Come on. Lieutenant's on the move again.
There's no doubt about this, Lieutenant Gardner. He's always on the go.
Yeah, as the starter said to the racehorse.
We're the only racehorses here, Mick, and we're racing on a sticky track, too. Well, come on. Mr. Gardner's got his 2-inch mortar ready.
Yeah, he hangs onto that 2-inch mortar like a dog hangs onto a bone.
Shh. Nips ahead.
I didn't think it'd be the front row chorus from the Tivoli.
Mr. Gardner has signaled us to take our positions. He's going ahead with his mortar.
Yeah, this Phil Gardner would win the war on his own if they gave him a chance. If he's not sniping from a tree, he's perched out under the Nip's noses, lobbing mortar bombs into their position. There he goes, look. Snake sips, they ought to call him the way he moves through the timber.
A nice shallow position he's chosen for himself. Oh, there he goes.
Shot one. Bullseye. Hand the man a cupid dog, then.
First bomb right into that clump of stuff ahead. Yeah, but there are still Japs alive there kicking.
It won't be after Gardner and his mortar are finished.
He's not finished first. The Japs are throwing the lot at him. Now they must have annoyed him.
He's annoyed them too. Here they come.
This is where we come in. That Jap has a lot of hope, charging out in front with his sword.
I have him neatly fitted in the sights. And another redskin bit the dust. Hey, what's the date, Len? Must be getting close to Christmas.
15th of December. What makes you think that at a time like this?
I don't know. Just that Mr. Gardner's position across there looks like a Christmas tree with sparklets hanging all over it. That's the kind of music I like to hear. Jokers somewhere through the jungle there, having to hack a path while we walk along this trail like strolling down Pitt Street.
Except we don't know whether the Japs are waiting along the trail to have a go at us.
Just like Pitt Street. Stop in front of a shop window and the next thing, a joker's got you by the arm dragging you to the shop.
Yeah, but this is different. This is dangerous.
And don't you think that Pitt Street stuff is dangerous? I tell you, a fella can come out of that wearing a purple suit with green stripes.
See?
If I could see him, I'd give him a taste of the Bren.
No, I meant about this track being dangerous.
You'd be a great help to General Blamey, Len. Hey, all I know is it's another day closer to Christmas. Hey, Mr. Gardner, he's down. He's caught one.
Yeah, as the police...
No, I'm not joking, Len. Phil Gardner must have caught that burst of machine gun fire.
You're right, Nick. He's putting a field dressing on his left hip. Both sides. He's been badly hit there, just above his hip.
Yeah, that'll take him out of action. To Phil Gartner, that'd be like taking candy from a kid. No, he can't do that!
He is, though, Mick. He's getting onto his feet again.
Keep it up! Keep moving!
No, he's onto his knees and calling's on.
He's located that jet position.
Okay, here we go again.
Another Jap machine gun isn't going to bother us again.
And another 4 Japs knocking at the door of the Yasuki Shrine.
What time was it Mr. Gardner got hit, Mick?
About 9 this morning.
Seems like days ago.
Well, we're getting on towards 3 o'clock now.
6 hours we've been creeping into this jungle stuff, wiping out Jap nests.
We haven't gone far, Lenny boy. Along about 40 yards.
But what are 40 yards?
Paved with Japs.
You're not kidding. Must be close on 40 dead Japs along this 40 yards we've come.
Don't overheat your brain, Einstein.
Mr. Gartner's still going. Going with those bullets in his hip.
The way things have been, he's lucky not to be full of lead.
Down!
Another notch to the gun.
Mr. Gartner, Mick!
What is it? What's the matter?
He can't even crawl now.
Oh, what did you expect him to be able to do? Bumps a daisy?
Oh, he's done extra well to make out this far.
You're right. You're extra right.
He can't do anything else now except to let himself be carried back.
Right again. And the boys are picking him up. Hey, there's a nip sneaking up on him.
Oh, get him, Mick, get him!
Right.
Got him. No doubt about Mr. Gartner. He's shown these Japs a real lesson in jungle fighting.
And guts.
Well, this time you're the one who's right, Mick. Extra right.
You're listening to an historical recording. And historical recording from the Australian Army Publicity Department, a recording made some 70 odd years ago. And yeah, it's a series called War Correspondent. This is episode 121. So I'm sorry to anyone who might be offended. This may offend their sensibilities, but it is hysterical and historical. And we'll have a listen to side B. Yes, it says here, produced by the Directorate, not Dictoriate. There must be a Freudian slip there. Yes, a Freudian slip. Produced by the Dictoriate.
Dictoriate says.
Yes, that's right. Of public relations, the Australian Army Public Relations Publicity Recording. It's all on the label. So yeah, we'll hear side 2 now. So I just a warning, a caveat there to anybody who might think that there are any that there's any positing here. This is purely historical. War Correspondent, episode 121. And I'm VK. Whoops. That wasn't a machine gun fire, that was the turntable. vk3sl testing.
Under conditions of the greatest adversity, the battle-wearied Australian jungle fighters fought on, outwitting, outfighting the Japanese, showing the fresh, well-fed and wiry enemy just what Australian endurance meant. The Japanese were fighting bitterly. The count of 35 dead enemy along the 40 yards fought over by Lieutenant P.E. Gartner of Canterbury, Victoria, and his platoon from the proud 39th Militia Battalion, 1st Militia Battalion to be blooded on the Kokoda Trail, showed just how bitterly the Japanese contested the jungle-covered ground. The progress made by the Australian jungle fighters here was steady but unspectacular. The Australians were too short in numbers to waste men in recklessness. Each enemy post had to be patiently located and cunningly stalked. This inching progress, foot by foot, yard by yard, in this overpowering jungle, against an entrenched enemy, threw a heavy burden onto the individuals. At times they were out of sight of each other. When the enemy fired, they didn't know whether he was 5 yards away or 500. But when an enemy weapon fired, that gun had to be stalked, tracked down and destroyed before the slow advance could continue. That was jungle fighting. The jungle fighting that the Australians mastered. So they fought until they came to an enemy-held village near the sea on that war-torn coast.
There's the village.
It's something like that joker Batman said when he rode up the Yarra, isn't it?
Something. But I tell you something. I wouldn't swap Melbourne for that bunch of dirty-looking grass huts down there.
Yeah, you might get some takers from the Sydney blokes in the battalion.
Yeah, they could be silly enough. Anyway, what are we lying here for?
Just that. See across there to the left? Japs.
Yeah. A lot of them, too. Officer leading them. About 30. Loaded up with weapons. Carrying shovels, too.
I don't know how lucky they are. We'll cancel their shoveling program.
Shh. Oh, don't give me that.
They're a good 50 yards away. Making for the village. Look at them, making sure they don't get their feet wet as they cross that sandbar.
Feet wet. They're walking straight in.
Come into my parlour, said the spider to the fly.
You ready? The platoon commander's giving us the high sign.
Yeah, as the earwig said to the earthworm, here we go. Hey, what's the matter with you? See something?
Hear anything?
You making a noise like the spirit of progress?
Quiet and listen. There's a noise like someone wading.
You reckon the Japs would stay away after we knocked off that 15 last night? All right, I'll tune in.
Tommy.
Our old mates the Nips paying us another visit.
Coming across the river this time.
Don't blame them. That sandbar isn't any use with health resort.
I can see him, Mick. Down through the vines there.
Ah, yes. Our old mates. I say, old boy, they aren't exactly dressed for formal visiting, are they?
Stripped down almost to the buff. You don't want to be weighed down by clothes, I suppose, as we cross the river and swamp.
Understandable. Well, we'll just weigh them down with lead instead. You right?
Right.
Shame to take the money. I bet Sergeant Ellis wouldn't like to get Japs easy like that.
No. Stan likes to get 'em the hard way. Stalking 'em. Lone hand.
The Texas Ranger.
Don't reckon Texas would be anything like this country.
No other place would be. This is the end of it all.
But yeah, funny to think of Sergeant Ellis somewhere out there on his own.
You can have it for mine. Jap woodpecker somewhere in the jungle.
Well, that's the kind of job Stan Ellis would be after. Not like us, lying here waiting to ambush Japs as they come in.
Well, that's my kind of war. Stan Ellis can have the other kind on his own.
That's the way he likes it. On his own.
There you are, me little beauties. Up behind that clump of bushes. How far now? 50 yards. Better get a bit closer before daylight. Keep firing that way, you rats. Just keep looking the other way till I get up close enough. Here's a good place to dig a hole. Now, this'll be cozy. 10 yards away. That'll do nicely. Taken 3 days to find this gun. See how they go when daylight comes. You've been a nuisance, you Jap, with that gun. We'll see how you like a nuisance planted a few yards away from you. Oh, eh? Means good morning in Japanese, doesn't it? It's getting light. We'll soon see whether that's a good morning or not. Here goes the first grenade. Oh, that started the day off well, eh? Ah, yes, there's one. Stand up and look round, will you? Try this for size. One down and a few to go. How about another grenade? Ah, so your mates around this neck of the wood won't have a go too. Okay, let's see how you like a piece of iron gun. Ah, it's going to be an interesting day. Very interesting day. I'm right here among them. Let's see if they can get me out.
That'll be Corporal Ellis out there, all right, Mick?
Sounds like his private strategy. 10 grenades and a burst of iron gun now and then.
Well, you gotta pay him. He's game.
Game? Ned Kelly would have been the softest fairy floss compared to him. Any bloke who goes out at night, builds himself a hole within spitting distance of the Japs, and carries on a private war with them all day, and... well, he's got me beat.
Put you in line with the Nips. He's got them beat, too. 3 nights and days in a row he's been out there.
Anybody you'd think he liked this jungle fighting. Here comes another of them. Andy Herod of C Company.
Corporal Herod. Yeah, he's another. He's got a satisfied look on his face, too.
Is he ever? Like the canary that swallowed the cat. How did you go, you joggers?
Got it.
Good what?
Home leave, by the way you fellas are grinning.
No. Andy Herod took the 4 of us out looking for a Jap gun that had been holding up our section. A medium machine gun it was. Spent 4 hours last night. You should have been with us.
I wasn't invited.
Ran across a few Japs and gave them a grenade here and there, but we didn't find the gun. Not until this morning. We located it behind a thick old piece of jungle.
And you sent him a Christmas card, huh?
Yeah, a lead one. Hand-delivered. Brightened up the day for him, no end.
Jaggers and Corporal Ellis out there. Between you, there'll be no Japs left for us?
Have no fear on that score, Mick. Your time is coming.
You ought to grow a beard and write it on the sandwich board. Your time is coming. You wait and see.
Won't have long to wait. We can advance now that we've wiped out that Jap machine gun.
Oh, that's where they took that Jap machine gun.
Where?
Across there, about 5 yards away.
All I can see is a stinking green wall of jungle.
Oh, that's all they could see, too, before they closed with the Japs.
Well, that's over, as the umbrella said to the bald head. Now we've got another one coming up.
Oh, Lieutenant Albie's up ahead.
So is that village the Japs are holding. They're not far ahead either.
And why haven't they opened fire on us?
Echo answers. Why?
When we creep up closer, we're going to be looking right down their throats.
Somehow I got the feeling the Japs don't like us looking down their throats. And I was right! Ah, they were waiting for us to get so close they couldn't miss.
Yeah, and yet every Australian has disappeared. Just sunk into the jungle.
More like they're swimming through it. Blokes moving forward like snakes all over the place. Come on, make like a snake or we'll miss out on the final attack on the village.
There's the village ahead.
You wouldn't reckon it was worth it, would you? I mean, it doesn't look like the kind of a joint where you'd make a quid with a pie stall. Can't see a soul around.
Oh, there they are. Well, if you don't believe me, where do you think all this flying lead is coming from?
I'm not worrying about where it's coming from. It's where it's going to that causes me concern.
It'll be causing you a lot more concern soon. Lieutenant Dalby's giving us the sign.
Yeah, looks like we're going calling, without even a visiting card. Seems to me we've lost that gracious old world custom here in the jungle.
You're right. We're going. They're throwing everything at us.
Just pretend they're mosquitoes you hear going past. Don't try to swat them.
We'll save your breath. Oh, there goes Mr. Dalby ahead.
Doing his gunner stunt again, too, making like a one-man army.
Dalby's gone right ahead.
He's making for that machine gun post. Right in amongst the Jap positions now.
You'll never make it. Never get out alive.
Those Japs he's spraying now with his own won't be coming out alive either. He's knocked the Jap gunner over and the rest of the machine gun crew.
7 of them. But there's plenty more. Plenty more Japs left in this post. You see them?
Can't miss them. They're all over the place like a policeman's boots.
But we're doing them. We're doing them. The village is ours.
By a desperate dash, the Australian jungle fighters took the village against heavy Japanese opposition. The Australians made their final dash across open ground to blot out the remaining pockets of resistance. By skill and cunning, by endurance and courage, the Australians had penetrated the jungle posts held in strength by the enemy. By individual stalking, by teamwork, by some instinct that stood by them in the jungle, the Australians showed that in this new warfare they were fighters without a peer in the world. War Correspondent, recorded by Robert Peach Productions, is presented for your entertainment by the Australian Army's Directorate of Public Relations.
Well, that was intense. I've bitten all my fingernails off now, and sitting at the edge of my chair, and we've been listening to a nostalgic presentation. It's an old Australian Army publicity recording. Need to put this into context because, well, we don't want anyone to be offended by the subject matter. It is, well, a theatre on many fronts. Anyhow, here we are again, vk3sl back at the helm, and it looks like everything's okay and I can stay around for a bit. And yeah, that's our little OTR presentation for today. Well, a warm hello to Mr. Fleming, and acknowledging your email. Thank you very much. And Wayne, hi to you as well. And thank you for your note. And well, it's nice to know there are a couple of people out there, and Frank, of course, chimed in before. So, yeah, and Frank JR, if you're listening, we'll work something out for tonight. There is a late night program on these airs. In fact, not on VHF, but on UHF. Sorry, not on UHF, but VHF tonight. That's 147.475, and on 160 as per usual. We've sort of sorted things a bit on 160, I'm pleased to say. I've had to realign a few things on the roof, and it's ameliorated some of those problems we had with SWR and low power and everything. We're back to our normal, yeah, maximum output. So yeah, what else? Okay, I think we'll sort of hear a 78. On the table, I've got another recording from Barnabas von Getsky, and this is from the Palm Court Idiom, a track called Pony. VK3SL, testing. Nostalgia on 160 and on UHF, the music of Barnabas von Getsky.
Hello, hello.
Hello, I can hear you. Is that you, Frank?
Yes,
Hi, how are you?
I'm well. I hear you've got 6 people.
Yes, we do. Yes, as the household is in a state of flux at the moment, but I've been given leave. I've got my my space now.
Look, I hope they get better very soon.
Yeah, it's meant that tonight we'll have to suspend. I'll be around to do emissions with you, which will be good. I'm looking forward to it very much.
Yeah.
But we won't have Joe with us tonight, so yeah, we'll put that one on hold, and we'll hear Mr. Coltrane another time.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So if you've got any thoughts, I have to say though, I need to make a special homage to Christa Ludwig, who died. Yeah. So she's one of the greatest of the greats.
She certainly is. Lovely soprano.
Yeah, absolutely. And mezzo too. I mean, some of her mezzo recordings are just to die for.
Well, why don't you just play some of her?
Yeah, I think look, if you're okay about that, we might feature her.
Totally okay.
Yeah, fabulous. All right, we'll do that, and I'll pick out a few. I've already listened to some, and they just I had no idea. I mean, I knew she was great, but there's some. She had an incredible sort of intellectual rigor as well as a fantastic artistic sense. She was a great interpreter in every sense. She understood the philosophy behind the music. So yeah, so we'll definitely do that tonight.
What age was she?
94 or 93.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she had a really good innings, and
Made a lot of recordings.
she certainly did. Absolutely, her first recordings in the early 1940s, and she recorded prolifically right up until the early 90s, I think.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, remarkable. So yeah, Christa Ludwig. Yeah. Anyhow, so I look forward to your company tonight, Frank. So
Likewise.
yeah, so just letting people know that later on at 11:30 tonight, I'll be winding up the gramophone and playing a few 78s and warming into things, and then around about. Well, we might make it a bit closer to 12 tonight, Frank, if it's all right with you.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind finishing a little bit earlier.
Yeah. Yes, there's an event at the EMDRC tomorrow which I'd like to attend. And
Yeah, I'm going to.
great, fantastic. So we might start a little earlier, maybe around midnight. I'll put out a Zoom call, and Frank and I will we'll have a bit of a nostalgia session, and tonight we'll celebrate the music of Christa Ludwig and others.
Sounds good.
Yeah, excellent. Look forward to it, Frank. All right. Well, I hope that didn't that episode of War Correspondent was pretty full on.
They are, aren't they?
They certainly are. I didn't realise I just pulled that one off the shelf and put it on, and it's yeah, absolutely. There's a strong theme there, but yeah, I suppose it's history and it's the vernacular, and that's the way it was portrayed.
When were they recorded? Do you know?
Late 50s, early
Okay.
60s,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
to my best knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah, around about that era. Yeah, Robert Peach, and I think you told me that it was Bill Peach's father was Robert
I'm
Peach.
pretty sure father, certainly close relative. I think father.
Yeah, right. How about that? That's interesting. Tom Jones sounded like he was the announcer at the start, but it could have been, look, I suppose everyone had that plum in the mouth accent.
Not sure. I missed the start.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Just the top and tail sort of got the characteristic,
Yeah, I know.
voice of the times.
That's the one.
Yeah, for sure. And I've heard from Jamie, and he's very keen to do another face-to-face mission, so we'll have another big OTR extravaganza in the next few weeks if it's if you're up to it, coming over, and we'll see what we can do.
Of course, we love it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. We'll find out. We'll work out a time, and then we'll flag that one. I think we'll have to. Yeah, because I really enjoy those sessions. It's been good, and I've got myself a headphone amplifier with independent volume controls, so it's an extra level of functionality on the desk here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, which has been long awaited. So we could have up to 4 people listening. So we could have a party missions and invite everyone in, and they can all.
Four-way turf talk.
We could. We could have a Zoom turf talk and a 4-way turf, a 4-way in the booth, and we could have a real sort of party verve here. That could work out well. Yay! Well, I found an Albert Coates record, or recording of actually Albert Coates conducting the London Symphony and a march called London's Calling. So I thought that sounded very sort of prim and proper and British and authentic and old-fashioned. So
And not the Clash.
not the Clash.
Not the Clash. Which reminds me, I just thought of one request for tonight.
Yes, please.
Or something we should
Yeah.
commemorate.
Yes.
Yesterday was Duke Ellington's birthday.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm writing that down. The Duke. All right. Well,
G'day, Frank. And hello, Frank.
Yay. Yes, we have to be frank with our listeners here.
Mini Frankathon.
Yeah, that's it. So, yep, Duke Ellington, we'll go to Guernsey tonight for
We'll
sure.
have to work out a collective now for Frank's.
We will.
That's right.
Absolutely. We will. Yeah, we'll have to invite more into the fold, and we could just have something that's quite unique. Yeah. All right, well, that's we'll have a listen to Mr. Coates and the early version of London's Calling. It's a march, and it's very sort of out there British, and this one's for Mr. Diamond. I know, who loves British movies, so we may see him tomorrow. All right, let's have a listen. vk3sl testing. Jolly good show, old boy. That was the London Symphony Orchestra with Eric Coates conducting, and a track called London's Calling, the original London's Calling, and on an old Columbia. This is vk3sl testing on 160 and UHF and streaming online. I forgot to mention that before, that our Premier service, I should put this into context, our Premier outlet, although no one looks at it, is the streaming service online. So if you look up my call sign vk3sl on YouTube, you'll find it. You'll find a channel dedicated to these missions, so you can have a look and listen in if you want something that's a bit more fine. Not that that really matters with these historic recordings. Yay! And oh yeah, there is a secondary stream as well, and all will be revealed if you type in my call sign at blogspot.com, vk3sl at blogspot.com. Should get that right. It's not an at, it's a dot. And there's a sort of a space where there's emails and other stuff. If you feel like you would like to comment, or if you feel anything has offended your sensibilities, no, maybe I shouldn't invite those sort of comments, but...
You've heard about sleeping dogs.
Yes, I think so. I think we'll just leave it at that. And, yeah, so things just meander along, and this is a Friday night and a Friday afternoon indulgence. Weekends too, if it's possible, and late Friday nights is where it all happens. It's where Frank, JR and myself will sort of wax lyrical about some historic recordings and all manner of musical subject matter, but mainly sort of classical-ish. But we have open minds, and we like to welcome new styles and genres and things as well.
I'm getting a playlist ready for music night tomorrow night.
Oh, fabulous. Great. Tell me, what's on your playlist?
Well, there's a quirky jazz guy called Mose Allison.
Mose Allison. Oh, that's caught my attention. Mose Allison.
He plays jazz piano and has a sort of a quirky singing voice, and more importantly, he writes his own material. He's got a very sardonic sense of humour.
Great.
And I like him a lot.
Fabulous. Okay, Mose Allison. There's a whole lot of stuff here I'm just looking up now. Mose Allison, Parchment Farm, Mose Allison Sings, 59, Best of Mose Allison. There's all sorts of things here.
I like Your Mind's on Vacation and Your Mouth's Working Overtime.
Oh, wow, that sounds great. Oh, that's very good. That says everything about these missions, or at least my part of these missions. My mind's on vacation and my mouth working overtime. Yeah, too much vernacular to be more music. I can't find that track, but I'd like to listen to it. Here's one called Mose Allison, what is it? I Ain't Got Nothing But the Blues.
Yeah, that's good. And there's another one called Don't Worry About a Thing. I Don't Worry About a Thing.
Okay, that's a great track. Well, I've got that one. The first one that jumped out at me was the one I just mentioned, so we can just fire that up. We can put on some Mose Allison upon your recommendation.
Not everyone's cup of tea, but give it a whirl. Give it a whirl.
We'll give it a bell. Let's have a listen.
Ain't got the change of a nickel. Ain't got no bounce in my shoe. Ain't got no fancy to tickle. I ain't got nothing but the blues. Ain't got no coffee that's perking. Ain't got no feelings to brew. Don't have a dream that is working. I ain't got nothing but the blues. The band is swinging, the folks are singing. I just can't let my head down. Believe me, Pruitt, ain't nothing to it. Since my little baby left town. town. Ain't got no rest in my slumber. Don't have no winnings to lose. Ain't got no telephone number. I ain't got nothing but the blues. Band is stomping, the folks are romping. I just can't let my head down. Believe me, Bridget, I can't get with it. Since my little baby left town, ain't got no house in Westchester. Don't have no Chris Craft to cruise. Ain't got no Basie with Lester. I ain't got nothing but the blues.
That's great drive time fare. Mose Ellison, well done.
Good.
Great track. I like that one. That was good. Yay. Well, we'll have to explore your playlist a bit more there, Frank. Find out. Is Mr. Frank number 2 there at all? Or Frank number 1 or Frank 1.5 or something or 0.5 or... Is that we need to sort of balance the frankness of this session? No, is he there? No, he's not. Never mind.
No, he's not.
It's all right. I was going to say if he had a selection too. Yeah. Well, no, that's excellent. Most excellent indeed. Yay. Well, I'm sort of feeling a little bit more settled now because there's been stuff sort of flying around all over the place here. People in various states of horizontalness or verticalness.
Yeah, it's no good. It's terrible when you get a number of people in a household sick at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Yeah, it's been, some people in this family have been off work for days and others have been not at school for days or not at university for a while, and yeah, there's all sorts of unfortunate happenings, but it's just, I suppose, season related. I'm very lucky. I rarely get, well, touch wood, I really get unwell. So I've only ever had about 3 or 4 days off in my whole life, really, from work.
That's pretty amazing.
I've been very lucky. And my mum's the same. Both my parents, I think, hopefully, I'm trying, maybe I'm tempting fate here by saying this, but hopefully I've got a gene that is reasonably safe in some situations.
That's great.
Who knows? But, yeah.
Like you need to cook up a big batch of chicken soup.
Yay, chicken soup.
Everything.
Yeah, well, Kate's at the, is doing something similar to that. I think some, big batches, something's going on the stove.
We're getting food from all sorts of lovely ladies here because of Kathy's broken wrist.
Of course, that's right. Kathy's out of action because of her broken wrist. Yes, so you've probably got a constant supply, or I imagine.
Yes, we've got Marion's beef casserole tonight, I think.
Oh, tremendous. Okay. Oh, good. Well, it's nice to hear that people rally to the cause. And, yeah.
He has an number of very good friends, and the people in the street are wonderful.
Oh, fabulous. That's good to hear. Excellent. Now,
like a nice community.
yeah, it is.
The one, Frank.
That's it. Yep. Good community vibe. Now, Frank, other Frank, Frank OP, would you like to, because we've got to balance this out, you see, afternoon missions, it's all about equity, and we just heard Mose Allison. Have you got a selection, something that you'd like to hear?
I haven't even given it any thought because I've been in and out. I've been doing some repair work up here in the next room in the walk-in robe. So I had one of the rails decided to let go and come down the other day. So just rebuilt all of that.
Yep.
And tidying up.
Sounds important.
I'll leave it up to your choice.
Okay, all right. Well, look, I have got another record on the turntable. I've sort of liked to play a bit of Palm Court, middle of the road nostalgia on these afternoon sessions, and there's a recording here of the Mosquitoes Parade, I think it is. I just checked the label. Yep, the Mosquitoes Parade. And years ago I used to sort of conduct a seasonal Palm Court orchestra at one of the music camps, and we used Palm Court music from the 3DB archive. And in fact, I've still got a lot of it here. And it was great fun. We'd have all of the tutors and advanced students to get together, and we'd just have a big session and play some of these wonderful old charts. And I just waved the baton in a very non-theatrical way. And amongst those was the Mosquitoes Parade, this particular song. So I reckon we'll have to play it. I didn't realise it was in the latest batch, so it's the London Novelty Orchestra or something. It goes way back, goes back to about 1933, thereabouts. So, and it's pretty scratchy and wrecked, but who cares? Let's have a listen to the Mosquitoes Parade. This is vk3sl testing. the way they hammed that one up.
They did, didn't
They went to town with that. I like it.
Beautiful.
Yes. This is the stuff. This is missions fodder.
I've just been called for my evening meal.
Okay, no worries.
So this is talk later.
Yeah, absolutely, Frank. We'll look forward to your company later on tonight, around about midnight.
I'll be there.
I'll certainly get the Zoom up and running, and we'll look forward to your company. That'll be great.
VK3JR signing with vk3sl and vk3op.
Cheers, Frank. Enjoy dinner.
Yeah.
Frank, I will.
Okay. Well, thanks, Frank. We'll look forward to your company later on. And I was just looking up on the thing, because there's another version of that song. There's a version which really resonates with me. It goes back to about the same period, but it's from the Dorchester Hotel in London. And it featured Alfredo Campoli, who was this amazing Italian fiddle player who sort of was really famous for his palm chord orchestra at the Dorchester Hotel. And then when he reached middle age, he had...
You are saying punk, aren't you? It's a...
palm chord, not punk chord.
Palm. I was about to say, 'cause I was expecting something vastly different.
No, I have to get my elocution right there.
The
Palm.
Chord Orchestra was conducted by Sid Vicious.
Yes, Vicious.
I was about to say, because that reminded me of a Rolling Stones interview when they released their second album, and they were asked, so what are the differences between the first album and this? And Tenor said, yeah, we've learned to play our instruments.
Okay, yeah, that's a start. Okay, very good. Well, here's some palm. I can't even do it. Palm chord music from the Dorchester Hotel in London with Alfredo Campoli, and a recording of The Parade of the Mosquitoes. It's the same piece we just heard, but it's sort of more upbeat, and it's got some great xylophone solos. Anyhow, this is the one that I really like. In a moment. Nelly, here we go. Whoops, there we go, wrong fader. That was Alfredo Campoli and Parade of the Mosquitoes, recording from the Dorchester Hotel in London in 1933 or 4, thereabouts, recording made for Decca. And Mr. Campoli was an interesting character. He sort of started off, I think he started off as a soloist, then he's had this long career as the conductor or the director of that ensemble made lots of records, gained a lot of notoriety, and then in his middle age he had that epiphany that so many of us have, that mid-age crisis, and decided to pursue a solo career. And he's one of the few who was able to really reinvigorate his playing skills to a very high level, and he continued to make solo recordings right up until the 1970s. Alfredo Campoli, remarkable individual, great. He characterised the Italian violin style, very light, effervescent. This is vk3sl testing on 160 and also on UHF. That's 438.725, and streaming online. You'd find there a YouTube channel devoted to these missions, and it's just a big sort of silly thing, really. No logic, makes no sense. It's just an expression of sorts. Anyhow, we will look at the playlist. I don't know what to do, actually. I haven't even thought about the next step. What's the time? 6:30. I want to go a little bit later, but I haven't thought about what I'm doing next. Well, what I might do is just pull a record out of the bag. Here we go. Got the box here in front of me. I've dropped my glasses. Let me have a look. There we go. And here we go. Leroy Anderson. We could put that on. Gypsy Wine. That sounds nice. Oh, we heard that, didn't we? That was Barnaby von Getsky. Quite like his group. I didn't know anything about them until the other week. And we've been playing a number of Palm Court recordings, including a track called Pony, which we started the missions on tonight. That's here.
So Palm Court, is that a reference to a type or a label or a...
Palm Court music is sort of incidental music. It's the elevator music of the 1920s.
Played by orchestras in foyers or...
Yes, absolutely. In restaurants, foyers, background music. It's sort of just polyfiller music, really, quite frank. Yeah. So, yeah, it's just light, easy, non-entertaining for these missions. I've always been liked Palm, and you hear it all the time. I mean, all the incidental music on the radio, all those chapel discs, they all fit in with the Palm Court idiom. Havana Novelty Orchestra. I think I've played these. I think this part has been aired, but never mind. We'll go through. Here's more Cuban music. I think I've played that one. Doesn't matter if I play them again. I want to hear another one of these Barnaby von Getsky records. I want to hear Gypsy Wine again. I think people won't remember the track. We did hear it last week, but it's in the pile, and
might as well have been last year.
It could have been last year. 1 week is 1 year. Here it is. Anyhow, I forget. And 2 tracks. Oh, we'll have a listen to Gypsy Wine first. This is characteristically Palm Court. And we'll play the direct 78 to air, and I won't even put it through the processor, so it'll sound very rough and ready. Here we go. vk3sl. Testing. Oh, it takes you on a journey. That is the music of Barnabas von Getzky and his ensemble on a very scratched up old HMV. Authentic Missions here on 160 and UHF. This is vk3sl testing, and we're just sort of doing stuff, playing records and using modulated sound.
That sounds very Eastern Bloc.
It certainly is, absolutely. I want to find out more about this guy. I really like this group. I like its characterization of these tunes. That really strong offbeat feel has got a very strong Eastern European vibe to it. I think it's excellent. Yeah, so look, they're fun to play, these recordings. They really sort of, it's time and place stuff, it really heralds a different era of where
you can kind of close your eyes and put yourself in the scene almost, can't you? In one of those stylish old hotels. And
yes,
we stayed in one in Egypt.
Did you?
Before last in December, the old Cataract.
Yeah.
Which is where Death on the Nile, Moon on the Nile was written.
Fantastic! What a fantastic experience that would have been.
And it was one of those real old world hotels, very high end, but just fabulous, like the rooms and the decor, and you could still imagine people walking around in piss helmets, and it was fabulous.
Fabulous! Oh, that would have been an incredible experience. I know people go to the raffles in
Singapore.
In Singapore, they do.
For Singapore Sling.
Yes, that's what they do, and there are a number of places. I remember a long time ago I used to play in an orchestra, and we went to, back in the 80s, late 80s, we went to Shanghai, and we at the Peace Hotel in Shanghai had the same band had been playing there since 1937.
Wow.
And I went to hear them play, and it was one of those wonderful, as you describe, a time machine. It was incredible. These geriatric musicians have been playing there their entire professional lives, and so that was about 89. It was really run down there. Now it's sort of
approaching 60 years as the same band.
Yeah, it was incredible. Yep, 37 to 89. Yeah, it was a while. Yep, quite a 50 thereabouts. Yeah, long tenure, and they were playing the same music, and
the same score chart.
Yes, I look at their charts.
Over with more care.
Yes, but it still had that glow and that old world feel and that smoky ambience, because everyone smoked back then, and so the room, you could barely see the band, and it was just this. It was so atmospheric. It was wonderful. Yeah. So yes,
the themes of light and the smoky atmosphere.
Yeah, I know. It probably takes a few years off your life, but who cares? It's worth it for an experience like that, I think. Yeah. Oh, that's good. It's nice to hear about your experience too. And I think that Eastern Europe sort of took a long time to catch up. So they had lots of great places as well.
Beautiful old buildings that have probably become hotels now. Back, I guess, in the Eastern Bloc era, they wouldn't have been so opulent as hotels, but some of the Baroque architecture in places over there just. We would spend a little bit of time in Prague, in the Czech Republic, and it's just
it's a magical place.
City.
Yeah,
it's just everywhere you look, it's like, look at that. And the other thing that takes your breath away is that as you walk around those places, and areas where my relatives are in Germany and other places, the age, a lot of the buildings have the date, on an archway above the door or something.
Yes.
And whilst they're allowed to renovate interiors and stuff, but there is that bit of heritage thing where they have to keep the exteriors looking fairly original, and the buildings there that people have. They're renovated and modern inside, and yet the building's 1,000 years old.
Yeah, it's quite extraordinary, isn't it? It's mind-blowing, that sort of deep heritage, those connections with earlier times. Yeah, what fantastic. Yeah, well, you probably heard of my mythology, but we lived in Prague for quite a while, and for 6 months in one period and 3 months for another time.
Wow.
So we had a long experience. Kate was doing a bit of composition with a teacher there, and I was sort of involved with various projects, and we were, immersed. It was during our 2.5 year off period in our late 20s. We took 2.5 years off and just...
So was it still under Eastern Bloc then?
No, it wasn't. But I was in Prague at the turn in '89. I was there right at that point.
Oh, wow.
With I did an orchestra tour.
That would have been an experience.
Yeah, with piles of candles on all the street corners, and it was an incredible time. And And I remember our orchestra descended on a music store and we bought the entire store out because you could buy books of music for 5 cents Australian, you know, and yeah, it was crazy stuff. Yeah, because there was so much, the economy was, or the exchange rates, currency exchange rates were just crazy.
So their currencies had become worth almost nothing.
Yeah, they had. And even in late 90s, early 2000s, when we were in Romania for that period, I took people have heard me say this, but I took a wad of money which kept us going, walking for 3 months. It was 800,000 lei. And which was translated to $20 American. 800,000. I had this wad of cash. It's about 3 inches thick at the bottom of my backpack, and we were walking, and that lasted us for two of us for 3 months. And it was only 20 American bucks. That's all it was. And you could buy a loaf of bread for 12 lei. So 12 lei, and you've got 800,000. It just puts things into perspective, and that's recent. That's in the last 20 years.
Pretty astonishing, isn't it?
It is astonishing. It's not that long ago. So yeah, it's Europe has sort of changed a lot in recent times.
Particularly all those eastern countries that were on the fringe, their economies were so bad towards the end of that period, and it took them a long time to rebuild. I mean, it's come forward a lot now, but
and massive exploitation. Massive.
They did it very hard for a long time, because I guess the other thing for the people was too that whole culture shock of losing a system that they were comfortable under, and to all of a sudden be in this new world of capitalism and market forces that whereas prices were set, this is what it cost. You only had the choice of 3 items, but they were kind of there, and that's what you got, and it's all.
Look, it's complex, and the other side of it is that there was so much black market, and I remember we went back to the Ukraine the following year and did a walk there, and people just hold you up in the mountains. You get a group of people with machine guns, and they demand money from you because they had nothing, and $5 American would be like months of wage for them, or months of potential. So they'd say, we can't pass here unless you pay us something. So we had these sort of...
stand and deliver.
Yeah, it was tricky, but we were lucky we were walking with some Czech friends who could speak Russian, and the best trick is to sit down and get drunk with them, and then you can sort of find a more comfortable way forward. Yeah, and I used to take loads of cigarettes. I had the whole top of my pack, not that I smoked much, but I bought tons of Turkish cigarettes.
So that would have been good trading.
Oh, it was wonderful. I not sold them, but I gave them all away as a trading point. But cigarettes, they need them more than anything.
Yeah, look, it's a hard trading thing over there, and the reality is, look, if it got you safe passage through areas, well then it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Look, it's interesting times. Well, okay. Well, look, I'm sort of a bit in the Palm Court sort of zone, so we'll turn this record over. The other side of this Barnabas von Getsky record says "Free and Easy," which is how I'm feeling now that the week's over. So let's have a listen to this track. there we have it. Barnabas von Getzky and his string ensemble recording from the, I don't know, from the probably the 1930s, late 30s, early 40s, thereabouts, and fits the palm court genre.
Where were these recorded, do you know?
I don't know. I really don't know. I have to look them. Probably London. They're not on a European label. So, yeah, I imagine there may have even been a touring group. I'll have to investigate.
Yeah, and in that period of time, perhaps got across there pre the big trouble starting and then kind of stay there for the duration, perhaps.
Well, it's an interesting proposition. It's very possible, and certainly a number of groups did find refuge in the UK at that time. But, of course, things became troubled very quickly there as well. And, yeah, it's a complex time. Yeah, it was such a lovely sunny day this afternoon that I was thinking that I'm looking across the room here and I've got this old desk. Well, it's a compact mixer from Pointer Records. It was a label in the 50s, and the fellow was selling off all this stuff quite some time ago on I don't know, one of the auction sites or something, or Gumtree or something, and I went out there and he had just stacks of stuff. Anyhow, he virtually gave it away, but amongst them all is the original mixer, a custom mixer from the 50s.
Wow.
And I'm keen to get it going, because I think on a day like this I'd like to be able to sit outside and
sit outside and mix and run a couple of lines in, and
yes, that's what I want to do. I felt so
almost like doing an OB.
Yes, it would be fun to do that, an OB. So yeah,
you could set up in the caravan.
I could.
Open and have a little bar happening. And
I know. There's so much possibility. So, yeah, I'm thinking that's the way to go. I've got to use this stuff. And it's fun to use, that it's all old-fashioned and has a certain vibe about it. So, yeah, I think I'll recap that particular. It's incredibly well made. I remember having a look at it when it came back here. And it's just astonishing. It's all, stud faders everywhere and Trimax transformers at every turn, and
yeah, wow,
yeah, but beautiful.
Probably need a little bit of just cleaning up and
look, it just needs
decrusting.
Just some of the wax capacitors are probably a bit noisy, so it'll probably bring it back to life, and it could be fun to use. So there's a prospect. I'm looking at it now and I'm thinking, yes, there's a way forward. And days like this, when a beautiful autumn day, it was so nice outside.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Tomorrow's going to be a degree or two warmer.
Oh gosh, yeah, it's going to be hard to get started tomorrow. Maybe I'll wait for the sun to get a bit lower before I do the active part of the missions. We'll see how we go. But anyhow, I think it's getting close to witching hour, and I was able to take my leave from the family, but I better go back and be responsible. So I think we'll just hear another palm court offering, since that's been the sort of the theme.
Well, possibly, I don't know if I'll be around later this evening. I might be in a bit earlier than that, but we will see. But if not,
that's fine.
We'll hear you on the morrow.
Yeah, on the morrow. Yeah, sounds good.
vk3p, thank you.
Yeah, cheers, Frank. Great to catch up. And hi to Wayne, hi to John, others, anyone else who's listening in. These are test missions, tone tests to validate volume and clarity here on 160 and on UHF. I'm vk3sl, and it's just a meander. Playing original source material to air, as it's a form of theatre which I quite enjoy. You probably all gathered that. All right, let's have a listen to the London Novelty Orchestra. And we'll say cheers for now.